Hello, I'm so excited to have everyone today. Thank you for joining me. I've got a great workshop ready for you all about Limewash powder. And today I'll show you a piece of a piece of furniture that I did. But you can use Limewash powder on your walls, on furniture, or to create art. So it's a great medium. Let me know if you've tried it before. Please, as you're joining, let me know where you're calling in from, a little bit about yourself, and if you have any questions along the way, please put those under the comments. My name is Patricia Skelton. I'm a full-time decorative artist and an artist in residence for Amy Howard. So let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is talk about inspiration. You can find inspiration as you're shopping online. It could be something that you've seen when you were traveling. This is an antique piece, 19th century, from Cherish. That site is one of my favorite for finding authentic aged furniture. And I think they do a great job at ensuring that you can really see the details. So one of the things about the lime paint is that as you apply it, you'll get different gradations of color, and that's what you can see here. They also did a gold with a bit of a bronze look, so I used that as well. This is the before picture. This is a piece I picked up at Goodwill. It had a leather top. This is all probably a mahogany veneer, and it was in really rough shape, but I got two of them for $29. Had perfect lines to give a makeover to. So I'll be excited to reveal that at the end. So this is the piece that we're going to create for our workshop to show you how to use the Limewash powder. And you can see from this piece how we've got darker, almost white, very light, and then a medium gradation. So this is similar in context to what we have seen on the piece. The inspiration piece is an idea, no different than what I'm going to show you today, and then you make it your own. Instead of going more of the light white look, I left it in the medium tone. Okay, so I want to pull over just a raw piece of wood. My wood was actually stained, so all I did was clean it with clean slate. But if you're working on raw wood, you can start like this, or you can even use chalk paint on top of this. So chalk paint is going to be the first thing, the first product that we're going to use. And this is A Good Man Is Hard to Find. This is the color right here. And it's a beautiful paint, and there's no priming. No sanding required. You might need one or two coats, but this paint is a beautiful matte flat paint, which is what you find typically on any antique. So we're going to start with that. Just have Amy's one of Amy's brushes, 1.5 inch. Let me push this up just a bit so you can see it. And you can see how smoothly this paint goes on. I like to start in the center. Depends on the piece that I'm working on. This one, because it has some curves. The main thing you want to do is you want thin coverage. You don't want to go too thick. You don't want any puddles. You want to make sure that you get all of your wood grain covered. So in this case, we want a full coverage. Still, when you're working with paints, you want to go in the same direction as your grain. It gives you a much smoother finish. And then you can see if you go, this is a nice thick paint. So you do want to make sure that you're getting it brushed in. Lift it up so you can see all your corners. Good lighting also is another thing that you want to work in, if possible, either outside or really good lighting in your home. All right, so this is how it looks. beautiful color, one of my favorites. Named after Jean Howard. If you follow Amy, you know that already, because she said a good man is hard to find. And this is how it looks dry. So this is the dry. Look how flat, matte. It's a beautiful finish. Okay, we're going to put the wet one aside. Now we're going to talk about the lime wash. So let's put this here that I bring over. This is the lime wash powder. Has hydrated lime, calcium hydroxide. So if you have sensitive hands, you really want to wear gloves working with this powder because it will dry your hands out. Now, you can use this white, which is how it comes. Lime wash powder is white, and it's also called a whitewash paint. And then if you want to bring color into it, you can pick out your color, use a pigment powder. This is Scandinavian Gray. So this is the powder that you saw earlier. And this is fully concentrated, so you don't have to use a lot. Very effective in getting the color that you're looking for. Because we are working with the lime wash powder and we want to make it into a paint, we're going to add Amy Howard's Toscana Milk Paint Binder. So not only is this good for milk paint, but it's good for her lime paint. This will thicken it. It also creates the pigment a little darker, and it seals it. So if you're going to lime wash your walls and it's in a place where you have hands on it and you need to wash it, this is the perfect thing. This is also great to do the furniture, and art, because the lime wash, if not sealed, it does have a tendency to, come off. Some of the layers will come off because it's a lime wash. So this will really hold it into place. Okay. Other than that, I did do in just a certain areas, I brought in a little bit of light wax and dust of ages. That is not necessary for bringing in a sealer, because the Toscana Milk Paint binder will seal it, but what it does do, it'll bring back out the darkness of some of the paint. All right, so since this is the first time I've introduced the lime wash powder, I want to go ahead and show you how to mix this. And please let me know in the comments if you've worked with it before. What are some of the things that you love about it? Any questions you have on it? Or if you haven't, any questions that you have. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of lime wash powder. I'm getting a couple of big rocks in there. Okay. And next, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of the pigment powder. And then you want to bring in 2 tablespoons of water. You want your water to be room temperature. And before you add that in, go ahead and mix up your dry powder. So you want to first knock out any of the little, almost like little granules where it has not broken up, to make sure that all the pigment gets mixed in together. You can also at that time start to see your color, and then keep in mind you can compare that, make sure you've got a good color variation from your base coat. But the other thing you need to keep in mind is that once you add your binder, it will darken your application a little bit. Okay, I've got that mixed up. So water, you want to use a room temperature water, not cold. The reason why is this is going to help dissolve your mixture a little better. So that's one of the things that will help dissolve it. Okay. And then again, you want to come back in, mix this. One of the reasons that you really want to start with mixing your paints early is so that all of the ingredients are mixed together. You want to make sure that you don't have any lumps or bumps in here. You can see I still have a couple in the bottom. Then you want to shake before putting in your milk paint binder, and you want to add 2 tablespoons. So we've got 2 tablespoons of our Limewash powder, 2 tablespoons of room temperature water, 2 tablespoons of a Toscana milk paint binder, and 1 teaspoon of our Scandinavian gray pigment. If you want yours lighter or darker, then you can adjust your pigment color. The rest of the recipe should remain the same. Adding the milk paint binder, if you go too heavy with it and not adding equal parts in water, it will create more lines in your product. Okay, so this is the product now. Okay, and this is going to be the milk paint that I made up last night. So it will thicken up, as you can see. All right, so we're going to bring back over our sample, which has been painted with a good man. It was hard to find. And now we're going to add the Limewash mixture. Okay, so you just make sure that your product is stirred well. It is runny. I would say that it's a little heavier than a milk paint, but it's much thinner than a chalk paint. Okay, and again, we're going to come in. I'm going to start in the center, get the places where it's a little more difficult to get to. Lift up. Make sure I've got all the paint covered. I'm going to go ahead and go in for another scoop. And again, I'm going to work with the grain. Now, lime paint, one of the beauty of, a lime paint is that it does, it shows texture through the paint. So you're going to get a lot of variation in the colors and also the lines or any technique that you're using. So one of the things I like to do is I like to pounce to break up some of the lines. And you can see when we do the reveal, I'll point out where you can see different variations of what I used. Some I applied, 2 coats of lime paint to create a lighter, and some I really came back and removed some. So what I'm doing now is I'm just using a long bristle brush from Amy Howard 2-inch. And after I've pounced it, I'm going to come back and pull. And then you can go in the opposite direction a little bit to create even more lines. Okay. Now, if you're wanting to show different gradations of the color, you want to come back in and add more paint. Or in this case, you can sort of remove a little bit of the paint with your paintbrush before you dry it. Once it's dry, it's pretty much on there. That binder does a great job in really sealing it to your piece. So let's turn on the dryer. You're going to see as it dries, you'll notice it turning white. And in this case, it's really a very light gray. Almost has the appearance of white. Now, if we wanted to go even lighter, then we could do a second coat. In this case, I think it looks great. I do have a wet wipe, and I'm going to pull back a little bit. And I just want you to see that even if I'm using a wet wipe, I'm going to pounce a little bit, and I want to show you what it does with the color. Bring back over my heat gun. And you can see it doesn't remove a lot. And where you see the darkest piece is, of course, where I had made sure to pull back some of the paint before drying. Now, the other thing is, this is where I brought in just a little bit of Amy Howard's light antique wax. Put it right there where you can see it. And then I also have, this is a piece that holds the paint secure when Amy's packaging comes in, so I keep those. It's a great way to be able to brush back some of your wax. So we're going to get the brush covered, and then to ensure that you do not put too much wax in a clump, you're going to come back and just make sure it's evenly spread throughout your brush. Okay, and for this, I want, I'm going to just show a little bit, pull out a little bit of the Good Man is Hard to Find. So I can show you that different variations. So we're going from darkest, medium to lightest. And that's the 3 color variations that we want to show. For this, you have to let it just dry a little bit. You can use a paper fan, obviously, because it's a wax, you're not going to heat this. And then you can come in and soften the color by using the Dust of Ages. So we'll come back in. Don't forget, you can be generous using this, because anything that I brush off, I can put back into the container, which is why I love using a paper plate when I'm working on a piece. Okay. There it is. How beautiful is that? All right, so are you ready for the reveal? Let me show it to you. Okay, and here we have the reveal, the finished table. One of the great things about using side tables for the holidays is it provides additional seating, pulling in your dining room chairs. And this is a lovely setting, whether it's in the family room or even if you put it in a guest bedroom. So let's get a little closer so you can see the details. Show you the details of where you can see some of the straight pulling lines. You can also see that throughout the piece where I've double layered on some of the edging. And then I utilized the pouncing to give a different variation on the drawer. I did use additional things, stencils, to create a pattern for the top where it was leather. And then to add a little more of a highlighted detail, I did gold leafing with mica glaze in bronze. And I had leftovers, so I created cute Merry Christmas coasters, of course with the Amy Howard stencil, as well as repainted a couple of dollar store finds for under $5 to make it all coordinate together. So here she is. I really love the way it turned out, and I hope you do as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you following me along on my journey this year in 2024 as I introduce my passion and love for Amy Howard products and decorative painting. If you liked the project today, I hope that you'll follow me. I'm on Facebook, Patricia Skelton. You can find me on Instagram at Open Window Restore. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and a great afternoon. Thank you.